You are listening to KSG podcast. This is a short, crisp, concise, exam-oriented, edited editorial for civil services aspirants. Here we're going to talk about future of coastal cities. The source for this content is an article by Amit Khanna for the Financial Express. The coastline of India is home to over 180 million people, running for more than 7,000 kilometers and encompassing 9 states and 4 union territories. It is one of the most densely populated coastal regions in the world and also the most vulnerable to climate change. The cost of this vulnerability was recently experienced firsthand during the Tauktae and Yass cyclones. Historically, cities grew at confluences of trade and business. The seafaring commerce of the past millennia have ensured that the greatest of our urban centers are sprinkled along the coast. Even today, the majority of a country's socio-economic development depends on its ability to fit into the global ecosystem of international shipping. This implied advantage is at great risk in the Indian Peninsula for a number of reasons: climate change, unsustainable and unplanned urbanization, and the generally poor quality of infrastructure for those living on the economic fringes. When working in tandem, these seemingly unconnected forces can erode any potential economic advantages and undermine the economic might of human capital in these areas. At current rates of human growth, the business as usual scenario has been linked to thoroughly researched and documented changes in the natural ecosystem, such as the well-known danger of an unprecedented rise in mean sea level. Apart from the dangers of repeated flooding, this can result in an irreversible erosion of coastal habitats. Megacities like Mumbai, tourist destinations like Goa, and small fishing villages along the coast are all equally at risk. Population displacement would occur on a large scale, with TERI predicting over 5 million people spread over 5,000 square kilometers being affected in the next few decades. Apart from the rise in sea level, there are other climatic events that are becoming more extreme. Changes in the otherwise predictable cycle of rainfall can affect agricultural production and therefore incomes. India's reliance on a predictable monsoon can be seen by the variation in farm output in low rainfall years. On the other hand, cities are not prepared to handle increased rainfall either, as seen in the case of the Mumbai floods. Further, a gradual, sustained and irreversible change to sea surface temperatures and acidity are affecting the coastal fishing industries. This is exacerbated by the overfishing in shallow waters near the coast to feed an increasing population. The most extreme and visible of these climatic events is the increasing frequency and intensity of tropical storms or cyclones. A single storm can wreak enough havoc to affect hundreds of thousands of lives, businesses, and cost the state exchequer hundreds of crores of losses. Their unpredictability makes them hard to plan for, and they equally affect the ecosystems of other species via uprooted trees, flood surges, and heavy rainfall. Climate change will take decades to reverse from the current path of anthropogenic change. If we begin reducing our energy consumption to save the planet now, perhaps the future generations will look back at us as an era that saved the planetary resources for perpetuity. If not, there may not be any future generations to look back at us at all. The choice is ours. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. To join KSG India courses and to crack the IELTS exam, visit ksgindia.com. You can also get a PDF of this podcast on ksgindia.com. Thanks for listening.